Alright everybody, in this video we're going to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials. Go ahead and pause the video, write down your standards and your I can statement, and then we're also going to talk about the vocab that we've got going on down at the bottom of the screen. So go ahead and pause and write your stuff down, and then we'll talk about the vocab. So when we talk about polynomials, there are some things that you need to know, and they apply to all polynomials no matter what you're doing to them. So the first thing you need to know is that the degree of a polynomial is just the value of the highest exponent. Then we talk about the leading coefficient. Now, you learned last year, hopefully, that your coefficient is the number that's in front of a variable. So in this case, when we're talking about polynomials, the leading coefficient is the number that belongs to the letter that has the highest exponent. Okay, that'll make more sense here in just a minute. Then your constant, of course, is the number without a variable, and that's always going to be last in your polynomial as long as you are writing that polynomial in what we call standard form. And you've heard me refer to that in the past, and all that is descending order according to the exponents. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. So here are two examples, and what I would like for you to do is I would like you to tell me what the degree is, the leading coefficient, and the constant. Okay? So go ahead and pause and see what you think. So in this first example, we have a degree of 4 because that's the highest exponent. We have a leading coefficient, which is the constant or the number that's in front of that highest exponent. So the leading coefficient is 3. Notice that it's the number that's out front as long as you're written in standard form. Okay? And then of course, last but not least, your constant is the last number without a variable, and that is -9. Okay? On the bottom, your degree is 5. Your leading coefficient is 7, and your constant, well, there's no plain old number down here, so we just write none. Alright? Now, let's move on to adding and subtracting. So, here we go. Notice that you have two binomials, two parentheses, each with two terms inside the parentheses. So, as long as we are adding and subtracting, you can just kind of forget about the parentheses. So, what we're going to do is we're going to regroup, and then we're going to combine like terms. That's all this is combining like terms. So, if I regroup, then I have the 2x from the first one, and I have the 3x with a plus in the middle. So that's plus 3x, and then I have my 5y, and then I have my minus 2y. So notice that I just regrouped and put like terms together, and then you just combine like terms from here. Okay, so 2x plus 3x is 5x, and then you have 5y minus 2y is positive 3y. And then, so that's your final answer. You're finished. So that's not so bad, okay? It doesn't matter how big the problem is or how messy it looks, all right? You still just combine like terms. Now with this one, I'm going to show you another way to do it. Before we did it horizontally, you can also do this vertically. So all you have to do is take the terms in the second set of parentheses, and then you're going to line them up underneath their like terms on the second set. So here's what that is going to look like. You start with your x to the third. Notice that that is a like term with 3x to the third. So I'm going to write it underneath that. You can throw the 1 out there if you want. Okay, so that's taken care of. Now your negative 2x squared, that's going to go under the 3x squared because those are like terms. Now your plus x is going to go under the negative 4x, and then your negative 4 goes under the 5. Alright? Now you just draw your line and you combine like terms. So we have 3x to the third plus 1x to the third is 4x to the third. 3x squared minus 2x squared is 1x squared. You can write the 1 if you want to. Negative 4x plus 1x, remember that's a 1 there, so that's going to be negative 3x, and then 5 minus 4 is 1. And you're finished. That's your final answer. Okay, see, not so bad. All right, now go ahead and pause the video and do this one. I don't care if you do it horizontally with regrouping, and I don't care if you do it vertically by lining up the like terms. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, so hopefully when you combined your like terms, no matter which way you did it, you ended up with the 6x squared. Notice that all of your x values cancel out, and then you've got a minus 2 on the end. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and combine those two terms there, so then your final answer would be 6x squared minus 2. All right? Okay, now this one is going to have some gaps in it if you combine like terms vertically. So go ahead and pause and try to line things up, and then I will work it out for you after that. Okay, so when you lined it up, hopefully you saw that you're going to have some gaps like right between the 5x squared and the negative 2x squared. It doesn't matter, you still combine your like terms on a vertical basis. So you have x to the third plus x to the third, which is, of course, 2x to the third. You have 5x squared minus 2x squared, which is positive 3x squared. And then when you combine all those like terms, you have 2x, and then negative 6 and negative 2 is negative 8. Okay, there are no other like terms to combine. It is in descending order with a degree of 3 and a leading coefficient of 2, so you're finished. Okay, now let's move on to subtracting. Subtracting is very similar to adding, only the only thing you need to remember is that in front of that second set of parentheses there's a negative 1, and so all you have to remember to do first is distribute that negative 1. Otherwise, once you do that, you're right back to where we started with the adding. All right? So I'll do this first one with you. I'm going to line it up vertically, okay? So I'm going to take my negative 1 times my 3x to the third. So when I do that, I get negative 3x to the third. And then I'm going to multiply my negative 1 times my negative 8x squared, so that's a positive 8x squared. Negative times negative is a positive. And then negative 1 times negative 5x is positive 5x. And then negative 1 times positive 6 is negative 6. Now you're right back to what we did before, where you just combine your like terms. Okay, so we've got negative 3x to the third plus 1x to the third is negative 2x to the third. And then 8 and 3 is 11x squared. And then 5 and 5 is 10x. And negative 4 and negative 6 is negative 10. So you're finished. That is your final answer. Okay, let's do another one. If you want to pause the video and give this one a try, go ahead. Alright, so when you distribute your negative 1 and you combine those like terms, then hopefully you ended up with 2x to the third minus 2x squared plus 19x minus 10. And that's it. You're finished. Okay? Now, I've got these other 3 examples. Okay? I decided to make them multiple choice so that they wouldn't take up a whole lot of room. So if you want to do them, great. If you think you got it, that's fine too. I'm not going to hold you to these 3. If you want to pause the video, then I will go ahead and tell you the answers one at a time. Okay, so go ahead and pause and give the first one a shot if you want. If not, just skip to the end. Okay, so on this first example, you should have gotten the third choice. On the second example, you should have gotten the middle choice. And on the third example, you should have gotten the last choice again. Okay, so hopefully that was plenty of examples for you. Make sure you bring your questions to class, and I will see you tomorrow.